Welcome to an all-new episode of the No Rules Podcast. I'm Aaron Hilton, as always, joined by my main man, Malik Smith. Malik, what's
What's
poppin',
going on,
man?
King? How you feeling?
I'm in Mansion and Benz's, my brother. How you doing, man?
Just I'm having a wonderful family vacation. I say family in air quotes. I'm north of New York City, with some friends and their kids. We're all in one big house. So if you hear a bunch of screaming, that's some kids. But
It's the children.
yeah, I
It's
told
the
all the
children.
kids. I said, all right, everybody, bedtime is at 8:00. Everybody going to bed at 8:00.
Good luck with that.
I don't care if you're my
Actually,
kid, you're not my kid. Everybody going to bed at 8:00. 8:00. Let's go.
You got to use the dad voice when you're being authoritative. It works.
I don't think they took me very seriously.
Nah, probably not.
I wouldn't take me very seriously.
You know what you got to do? You still have a play in your chamber though, Malik. You can like take the glasses off as you're saying the thing, or like stop, dramatic pause, take the. You know what I mean? Boom! It's right there.
Is that intimidating? I don't think that's intimidating. So
it's pretty. It at least it grabs your attention because it's like, oh, I've never seen him do this move.
Not when they're doing like
this. It's not one of
doing backflips over the couch. I think it's a little tough.
Yeah, no, it's hard to pay attention when they're doing like living room gymnastics. Provided that, but I will say that it is a thing because like when my dad started wearing reading glasses, you could always tell. Like he usually had like the thing where he'd be like, knock it off. Like he would interrupt himself in the middle of saying a thing to say it at a higher register. And that was our cue to like, hey, fun dad is gone. It's time to be a little more serious. We've taken it too far. Reel it in. And then he started to wear reading glasses, which added a whole new layer of like not taking him seriously to the whole thing. Because that's when kids start to acknowledge the fact that their parents, who they see as superheroes, are like getting old. They're aging because that's what people do. If they're so lucky, and he figured out a whole new move: either lower the glasses or kind of look over the bridge. That was my mom's patented move to see him exactly. Yeah. That's the move. You just you have the little. I'm peering at you over the bridge of the glasses. I am stunting my vision so that you can get a clear look at my eyes as I gaze and peer into your soul. So you still have that move that you can play. You just can't play it all the time. So, use it wisely.
No, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to try it out, on the kids in here and see if it has any effect, because once they hop up on
and if it doesn't work, then kids, that's more of an indictment on you. I feel like you just have to perfect the move. It's going to work.
Yeah. Well, then I just start screaming, God damn it.
God bless it. So let's jump into first before we hop into NBA free agency. Actually, let's give flowers because it's been a week. We took last week off, like we said. It'll be a little bit up and down as we're starting to figure things out from us to bring our branding together, to coalesce a little bit. So it'll be a little bit more sporadic in the dog days of summer, but hopefully by the time the fall starts to creep around, or even a little bit earlier than that, we'll get everything stamped and we'll be back with you consistently every week, usually on Fridays. But we didn't get an opportunity to give Shai Gilgeous his flowers. The OKC Thunder, of course, as you called before the playoff run, they proved they were the best team in the league. They finished the job. Our hearts go out to Tyrese Halliburton. Went down at the 5-minute mark with the ruptured Achilles. So his road to recovery has already since started. But Shai Gilgeous, just a hell of a summer for him. Wins the NBA champ, wins the MVP, wins his first championship, wins the Finals MVP, and then in the offseason, wisely OKC re-ups the Canadian superstar to a 5-year Supermax deal, which will see him be paid in the last year of his deal $78+ million. That's almost $1 million per game played.
It's really, really amazing how insane a season he had. Like when you look at it, if you just took his name away and just showed all the accolades, the numbers, like you'd be like, damn, they found a Michael Jordan and like, oh damn, James Harden finally won it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like he was putting up unbelievable numbers, man. I love Shai. I love his game. I enjoy watching him. One of the many guys who who doesn't play for my team that I will totally tune in and watch because he's that fun. And yeah, man, I'm proud of him. Like to go from getting traded for Paul George and sort of being thrown in, so to speak, to being the MVP and winning the championship before Paul George. Not to shit on Paul George, but I mean, I just I think that's pretty funny.
I mean,
At least Paul.
that's part of pro sports. You get traded, and you know what? If that player that you get traded for just so happens to win the league and Finals MVP on his way to a championship, and you still have yet to even play in the finals since this trade, or even in your career, I think that that's going to come up.
Yeah,
probably.
Hey, at least he's got the podcast though. So there's
Yeah.
that. There's that.
Yeah, he does. He is still podcast P, and he's back on his podcast thing because it's off season. So
you know what? I keep forgetting he's on your team. So I feel like you have different feelings about.
Is he? Yeah. Well, I will say this though, as all of my good friends and followers on social media know, there is no pit deeper than the despair of being a Sixers fan in the Tobias Harris era. So just simply by not having him on our team, and again, probably a great guy individually, whatever. I don't know these people. I hated Tobias Harris, like as a Sixers fan, I really did. Just everything about him, it drove me absolutely fucking nuts. I hope he continues to do well over in Detroit, but Philly he sucked, and so just not having him on the team was a win in and of itself. It sucked that it had to be Paul George as the replacement because I feel like it's this more expensive version of Tobias Harris, which is hilarious a little bit. But nah, it's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
You guys will bounce
I'm fine.
back. You guys will bounce back.
I've said fine 5 times in 30 seconds. So NBA free agency has been up and running for a while now. I want to say better part of 4 or 5 days at this point. Lakers signed DeAndre Ayton, who was unceremoniously waived by the Portland Trailblazers, who have a glut of centers on their roster. You would think that they would trade him, but I don't know how these GMs and all that kind of think.
You think somebody would have taken his $35 million contract?
You could have got something.
Ooh.
You could get something for Ayton.
You probably have to give up something to get him.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he got something. Even if all you get is like the 60th pick in the draft, at the very least, you got that. You got some sort of compensation to literally get nothing for a guy who was drafted number 1 overall 7 years ago. It's kind of crazy. But, he's going to the Lakers. He'll probably do very well for that team. LeBron James needed a center on his team. Luka Doncic has a pick and roll lob threat now. Ayton, he can protect the rim if he's focused on defense. Remains to be seen if he's going to focus on defense, but good pickup for him. The biggest shock was actually the Milwaukee Bucks stretching, which means they're basically Bobby Bonilla-ing the Damian Lillard contract over, 10 year span or something like that.
So for the next 5 years, they will have a $22.5 million cap hit, which basically means they'll have $22.5 million of dead money added to their books, which is,
just to get rid of you, we are willing to pay you $22 million a year over the next 5 years, as opposed to just letting you recover in our facilities for like the $40 million we would have owed you this year.
60.
It was 60?
He would have gotten paid 60 this year and like 60 next year, or 50 something this year and 60 next year, like some insane number. Which, look, I understand it from the team standpoint that they're like, hey, we gotta get rid of this guy. A part of me felt like kind of bad for Dame because I'm like, damn, dude tore his Achilles, and they just gonna waive him like that. Then I thought about it. I'm like, that nigga getting this money. That nigga getting $113 million.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, I get it. And, Carmelo Anthony had a lot to say about it, and a lot of other NBA stars had a lot to say about it and everything. And, I mean, to drop Dame in the way that they did and then go pick up Miles Turner, like, it's not like they went and, traded for some NBA superstar. You know what I mean? They went and got Miles Turner in free agency, who was like, it's like a B grade signing. Very good player, but he's not Dame Lillard. He doesn't have the career of Dame Lillard, obviously. So it's not like you were making room for some superstar to replace the superstar that you lost. So from a PR perspective, it looks worse. But again, I think what people forget, like you just mentioned, the NBA is a business. You know what I mean? The Milwaukee Bucks are in the business of making money, and paying a player who is going to be recovering, who is in his late 30s, it doesn't behoove them to pay that player $60 million this year and another $60 million next year when they could be like, look, $20 million also sucks, but it's literally a third of what we would have had to pay him. And the penalty for that is we have to pay him over the next 5 years as opposed to just paying him the 120 over 2 years. And, I think that they're happy with taking that trade off.
Yeah, I want to get back to the business aspect of what's been happening the last couple of days in a second. But specifically on Dame, I think, he's a top 75 player, right? Like he was voted top 75 in the NBA. You moved heaven and earth to get this guy. You traded away Drew Holiday, who won a championship for your team, to get Dame to come into your building because you thought that Dame and Giannis together would be a super pairing. And, it was good. It wasn't like they were terrible. They just didn't dominate the league the way that people thought that they would when they made the trade. So, this is the same point you made about DeAndre Ayton. Granted, it would have been harder to recoup something for Dame because if he's making $57 million next season and he's not playing, you can't trade him next season. Maybe you can trade him the season after that when it's expiring, but he's going to be making even more money. It's hard to trade somebody who's making $60 million, right? Maybe they'd have been screwed for the next 2 years and maybe Giannis leaves. Like, I don't know that Giannis is going to want to stick around just to play with Miles Turner either, right? Like, and for the next 5 years, you have a $22.5 million hole just sitting there. So you can't sign anyone because your money is already allocated to what would be a really good player. Like $22.5 million.
I mean, just think about it. When you're looking at the deal, it's kind of like, not to make it so rudimentary, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's not. It's like if you have a dime, right? You're dating this dime piece, and you lose her because you wanted to have a threesome with 2 5s. It's that math don't math. You know what I mean? Great, yeah, threesome is awesome. There are 2 5s. You don't want to see you don't want to be seen outside with these two people. So it's great that you were able to live your dream of having your threesome and doing this, that, and the third. But 2 5s does not equal a 10 in this certain situation. That's only a math equation. That's not a person equation. And in this case, it's like, yeah, okay, you found better ways to allot that money. Sure, paying a player that's actually going to play for you and probably start for you is a better option than a player who's going to be in recovery for the whole season, making 3 times that amount of money. Sure, but you also have to look at what is it going to look like for your organization? What's your superstar going to think? The optics, everything, the whole situation. It can't be looked at so plainly, so black and whitely. But that being said, I believe in the business of the decision. I don't know if there's a better way to do it. I've never been an NBA GM. It's still not the worst move that a GM has done this year. Shout out to Nico Harrison, but
It's still pretty bad.
it
It's
was
still pretty bad.
it wasn't
Yeah.
great. It wasn't great, but you can understand why they had to do it. But talk to me a little bit about what about the business of basketball that's been going on that has piqued your interest?
I mean, I think what we're seeing right now, really, this whole season has been, I think, a sort of reminder how much basketball is a business, right? So we had the Luka situation, right, which was a shocker. Obviously, no one expected that to happen. And I think the takeaway from that, from a player standpoint, was, wow, all these players who we think have so much power, I guess they really don't, because you could just get traded, even if you're a top 5 player in the NBA and you just went to the finals last year. And I feel like we're seeing something similar with this LeBron situation. So LeBron opts into the final year of his deal. It's like $52 million or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like him and Rich Paul, Clutch, released a statement saying that they're monitoring what the Lakers do to make sure that they put together a contender. I mean, to be honest, everyone made a big deal about it, and I was just like, this is the same shit he says every fucking season. So I don't really like
Every year.
to me it
He's the king of the subliminal shots. Like that's what he does. He was like, listen, we're gonna be monitoring the moves. Like, duh. Every star monitors the moves of their team. Giannis monitored the move of Dame Lillard. That's why he made those cryptic posts. And then it came out that you knew that they were trying to sign Miles Turner. But if you know math, you don't have the money to sign Miles Turner. And the only way you really would have a way to sign a guy at the money that you would need to sign Miles Turner is by trading or releasing Damian Lillard. So all superstars are monitoring the moves of their teams as they should. It's just because he said it, it makes it look worse.
Sure. I mean, I think people have a perception of LeBron that he's maneuvering and putting pressure on teams, which I guess what I find interesting about it is this idea. What I should go back. So they released a statement. People take that to mean that they're forcing the Lakers' hand, that like if they don't pick up the players that he wants, that he's going to ask to be traded, even though there's really no trade scenario. He has a no trade clause. There's really no trade situation that fits for him. So all he's really saying is like, hey, I'm, 40 and I don't want to be playing for a team that's not going to win. So like, let's at least, try to pick up some good players. Like I'm publicly stating that we should try to pick up some good players. God forbid my best player wants me to, be good and win a championship. I think as an organization, I would want that. But I think the discourse that's been happening recently, and I think some of it is just like, it's summer and they're just like, hey, how can we squeeze something out of this story? So much so that Rich Paul had to come back and like, not necessarily retract what they said, but like restate it in a way that made it seem a little bit more palatable. But I think it's interesting that, a player of LeBron's stature, somebody who his entire career has been singularly focused on winning as many championships as Michael Jordan, or at least trying to come as close as possible, right? Like that, like I think it's fair to say.
Let's get within striking distance. One more ring, I think he'll be happy. Not that he'll have the option to win more than one more ring at his age, but
whether he does or not, he has 4 of them. So I think he's done pretty well for himself, right? But
yeah, I think he might have a chance to make the Hall of Fame if he finishes his career strong.
There's a outside chance. But like I think where I'm confused is like we want the basketball players, and maybe this is a LeBron specific thing, right? Because I don't feel like people are saying Giannis essentially is saying the same thing. When he said he wasn't happy with the Dame situation or how it played out, he wasn't specific about what it meant. He didn't necessarily say like, I'm mad you guys got rid of this dude and now I want to be traded. He didn't really like, maybe it was more of a like, I just thought that was kind of fucked up because he's hurt and like, shouldn't do that to a guy. We don't know. But it seems to me that there's this disconnect where the players are just supposed to just do like, I feel like we're not sure what we want them to do. Do we want them to actually want to win and want to put pressure on the teams to win? Or are the teams allowed to kind of do whatever they want? They can tank when they want. They can, make stupid trades. They can put $22 million on their books for 5 years just because they want to get rid of somebody and not pay them, for the next 2 years. Like they can do whatever they want. But if a player says like, hey, I'm monitoring the situation because I know I have leverage because, I'm like at least top 3 all time. And like even last year, I made second team All NBA. If I say I'm monitoring the situation, I've over leveraged myself, and now I'm at risk to be traded, even though I have a no trade clause. I don't know.
I mean,
what do you think about it?
I mean, there's no way to please these fans. That's just the way that it goes.
Fans. I think it's more the teams. It's like, what do teams want? And the teams essentially get to decide what they want moment to moment.
I think the teams are constantly playing the game of they've realized that the popularity of the game can also be used against its biggest stars. So just like the same way that LeBron leveraged NBA free agency and contract negotiations to pull the decision back in 2010, the summer of 2010, and go down to Miami with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade and all those folks, and it changed the player empowerment for the better because they'd never really seen anything happen. Now there was a big 3 before them because the Celtics were a big 3 before them, but they had never been put together in that way. That was still a Danny Ainge brainchild. He still had to make some trades and make some moves.
Trades, yeah.
Get you know what I mean, and great moves to get those players that he got, getting KG and getting Ray Allen to join forces with Paul Pierce on the Celtics for those couple of years. But the teams are now starting to kick back. They're like, okay, well, these players are so popular now and they're making so much money now. Well, what is the way that we can fight back without having to fight back? Well, we can have the fans fight those battles for us. So you see a player that like, and just to use his name here because we just mentioned him, but Shai Gilgeous as an example, not that it would ever be an issue, but like, okay, in 5 years, he's going to be making like I said, $78+ million, right? So if there happens to be an issue and he doesn't like, say they, are thinking about trading Lou Dort at the deadline, and OKC is like, look, financially we have to, or it just makes more sense for this team and the way that the NBA is going, or whatever the case may be, they can use the fans of Oklahoma, middle class fans, who were like, look at this guy who is making almost $100 million in a single season, complaining about something that we're doing. We, the team that chose to pay him this $78 million, and he has the audacity to come at us and talk about how he doesn't like something that we're doing. It's like, well, you didn't have a problem with how we did things when we signed you to this deal. You're like, that kind of thing. You're fighting in the court of public opinion, which to players like LeBron James, that's attached to your legacy, and it fucking matters. These guys all have egos. They all have social media, and they lie when they say they don't read it, because they do. Every last one of them. They read it. And if you're Kevin Durant, you reply. Like, you know what I mean? It's so you fight your battles through the fans, and that's what I mean by that. So, like, with the teams, they're like, all right, this might be a way that we can help combat some of this, or keep things at an even keel, by letting some of this information get out, or by fighting it in the court of public opinion, and kind of getting a guy like LeBron James to back off.
I mean, it goes both ways. The players do the same thing, right? That, like, every time
100%.
Shams has a breaking news tweet, it's coming from somebody's agent. So I'm not even like, whatever. That's the game, and I totally understand that. I think what's weird to me is that if a player who's really good, like we can go to look at the playoffs, right? They got gentlemen swept in the first round, but even in that series, like, LeBron was actually the best player on the team at 40, 39, 40, whatever, right? Like, Luka was good. He made some crazy shots, as he always does. But, like, overall, he wasn't playing very well. His defense wasn't great. If I'm LeBron, it's like, I saw the series. Like, I was going toe to toe with Ant, who's like 20 years younger than me, and Luka was kind of, whatever. Maybe he's out of shape.
Well, he's lost weight now, Malik. You're looking at skinny Luka now.
Look,
it's starting to become a cycle like the Ben Simmons workout videos. It's summertime skinny Luka. When he doesn't have the craft services table at his disposal, and he's back in Europe eating like non-processed foods. It's amazing. It's really more of an indictment on, the United States food system and FDA approval. Yeah, well, Texas as well, because as soon as he goes back to Europe, it's like no one gets that skinny that fast if you're not like Christian Bale, right? So it's exactly, or an Ozempic. So you just see, which fits the LA narrative, by the way, for the Ozempic crowd. But I mean, hopefully this is a new Luka. I think being around a guy like LeBron James, you have to pick up some things by osmosis. Luka is too great of a player to just allow LeBron James to work this hard and then him not pick something up. I mean, I don't. Hopefully, you'll see that.
I don't think he's. The point I was trying to make wasn't that like Luka's not trying or whatever. It's just that LeBron's still so good that for those stretches, he can be the best player on the floor. He can be the best player on the team.
It's ridiculous that a 40-year-old could ever be the best player on a team that's a 3 seed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's insane.
And because of that,
it shouldn't happen.
Because of that, I think it warrants him to be like, yo, I'm still good enough. I want to play for a winning team. And for me to come out and say that, like, I don't think that, to me, and this is me personally, I'm not trying to cape for the guy because you don't need me to cape for him, right? I'm just saying, I think it's...
I mean, Michael Jordan came down from the front office because he didn't think that the Wizards were talented enough. And he was like, I'm just going to throw on a fucking jersey and I'm going to go and drop 40 and make an all-star team. So, it's happened before. It'll happen again. The fans acting like surprised that a great player wants his team to continuously try to win. Like, what is he supposed to say? That's ridiculous. I don't know. Yeah, it's a ridiculous thing. Almost as ridiculous, Malik, as owing your barber $26,000. Like, how? I don't even understand. So for people that don't know what I'm talking about here, Malik Beasley is under investigation by the NBA for a gambling scandal, which date back to, I think,
not the NBA, the federal government.
Oh, the federal government. Excuse me.
The federal government.
My bad. Real authorities. Not Adam Silver and his cronies, real authorities are actually after Malik are investigating Malik Beasley for a gambling scandal, and I believe, if I can remember correctly off the top of my head, the pertinent month that they were looking at, or the one that keeps coming up, is like January 2022, I want to say, or maybe 2023. That they were looking at specifically with some fishy behavior in the box scores and things like that. But without knowing exactly the specifics of what they're looking into, some details came out about this guy's financial strife over the last few years. And for a guy who's been heavily in NBA rotations, he is a millionaire. For you to owe your barber $26,000 is fucking insane. First of all, it's insane for the barber because you see Sebastian even barking. He didn't believe, but like, it's
what?
How do you continue? I cut. I'm not a barber, but I cut hair and I do it very well. There is no way you even. Thank you. You even get the bankroll up to. You ain't even getting to $1,000 that you owe me before I stop cutting your hair. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start cutting you bald before your ESPN games. So how rich does this barber have to be to like be on credit for like $26K?
Well,
you know,
I believe the situation was the barber was lending him money, which
it's worse.
I mean, yeah.
If you're lending me money after I get my haircut by you, it's fucking crazy.
But
that's crazy.
Here's the thing. It is crazy. It is crazy. And like, it should be a major red flag because it's like, nigga, don't you make a mad money? But if like, let's say you're cool with your barber, right? And like, yo, man, you know, shit, you know, whatever. You telling him some sob story, which this is how I'm imagining the situation had to have gone for him to be like, yeah, sure, I'll lend you this money, millionaire basketball player. He's telling you the sob story, and he's just like, oh, you know, it's my guy. Like, he's good for it, right? I think that's the only way that this happens is that you think like, well, this guy's good for it. Like, I mean, he's pretty good. He's making the vet min. Like, you know, he's about to have a good season. Like, he'll re-up for another 3 years, 16 million at the very least. Like, I'll get some of that. Like, you lend him 15 grand, you know, then you lend him another 20 grand or whatever, and you're like, yeah, no, I'll get it back. Shout out to the barber for being able to lend somebody that kind of money.
That is my point. This is definitely a black gloves ring light barber situation because there's no way. There's just no way that you have $15,000 to lend to your millionaire NBA friend.
But it like, as crazy as it is, I mean, it's not only his barber, his dentist owed him. His dentist sued him. His landlord.
Yeah, they got paid. He paid over $60K back to the barber and the dentist because they had to sue him for damages.
His landlord was suing him because he wasn't paying his rent. By the way, his landlord is Dan Gilbert, who owns the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah. It just all kinds of
no way. I did not know that.
It's not like he lived in Dan Gilbert's house, but like the property is
Gilbert.
So it's like, yeah, you know,
Rocket mortgage.
That might get, yeah, exactly. That might get back to NBA circles, Malik Beasley. Maybe you want to pay that one. Of all the things that you might want to pay, maybe you want to pay that one. Like maybe
the guy that wrote one of the top 3 players of all time wrote an angry note in Comic Sans and still put it out publicly. Yeah, he might hold a bit of a grudge.
Just a smidge.
Yeah,
man. Like this is a absolute. I mean, I guess the real question is this man ever going to play in the NBA again? Do you think he'll ever play in the NBA again?
Yeah, I do think he'll play in the NBA again because teams are shameless. Yeah, I do. I do. I will say, if you are absolved of the gambling scandal, he'll play in the league again. Now, what happened obviously, if he's proven guilty, he gets the Jonte Porter lifetime ban, the Pete Rose. You know what I mean? Like that's done.
I don't think there's any chance that he gets out of this gambling.
So if we're saying, do you think he's going to be guilty of this? I do, and it's not because, I think he's just a terrible person and doing this or doing that. He has proven himself through the evidence that has come out, the preponderance of evidence, as Stephen A. Smith would say, that he has almost zero financial. If NBA 2K came out with another category subset of like ranking, and it was called financial literacy, he'd be in the negative. You know what I'm saying? All the way down. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way his shit would be it would drive his overall ranking from like an 83 to like a 64. It would be that low.
Yeah, that's crazy.
If there's ever been a sign of like who you can't give a supermax deal to, not that he'd ever be eligible for one, it's Malik Beasley. Because like, how can you possibly mismanage your money? Like, I understand sometimes friends and family members dipping their hands into your pockets, bad investments, this or that. This is none of those things.
Worse.
You aren't paying rent and you're borrowing money from your barber and you're not paying your medical bills. Those are simple adult life things that everyone has to do, that you had to do before you were in the NBA.
One. I'll give you one of those. Like, maybe one of those you're in arrears.
No, you have
no. I'm saying
you have insurance in the NBA.
I'm saying.
What are we talking? You don't even have to pay anything. You're going to
I
get
hear you.
dental work done. You have fucking insurance.
I'm just saying, if it was one of those, I'd be like, oh, shit happens. I mean, shit happens,
Not that shit. Some shit, Malik, does not happen. Absolutely. No. You're being nice. I'm not going to let you be nice. You're being too nice. This is Dad Malik speaking. This is not Malik Smith speaking. This is Dad Malik speaking, and bad on you for that because you know better. He is a shithead for that.
I agree.
Again, probably a really stand-up guy, but this is like one of the if I would bring this to my mom, right, and like all this comes out, because moms always find, they're gonna find out, and I'm sure Malik Beasley's mom knows now if she didn't know before. This is one of those types of situations where it don't matter how old you are, you just kind of can't make eye contact with mom on this one. You know what I mean? She's just like looking like, are you fucking sick? Like, no, I don't for the life of me understand how you could let it get this far. I hope that we can continue to joke about this because the gravity of the situation goes down. Because again, I don't think it's something that's so serious. Like, it's not a victimless crime because people are owed money, but I don't want to see it go much further than it's already gone. I feel like he's dealing with the embarrassment of the situation right now. He's gonna have a lot of money to pay to a lot of different people, but
no, you good, please.
No, you're good. No, it's this. He's dealing with the gravity of the situation right now, and it's a funny joke and all that stuff. But when you're dealing with the federal government, a lot of times you don't win those unless Malik, unless your name is Sean Combs. How's that for a segue? So we couldn't have a podcast in the first full week of July without talking about the case of Sean Combs. So Diddy has been officially absolved of any guilt on the RICO charges and on sex trafficking charges. He has been found guilty of. It said in the article, transportation to engage in prostitution. So not sex trafficking, but you did transport men and, in I guess some cases, women with the intent of selling them into prostitution or using them as prostitutes.
I'd like to make one correction.
I'm guessing
he was not absolved. He was found not guilty. I think there's a difference there.
Well, yeah, absolved of any guilt might have been too strong, but yeah, found not guilty. I couldn't think of the word on the top of my head, to be honest with you, but yes, found not guilty on the RICO and the sex trafficking charges. Now, you very rarely see the feds bring up charges as serious as RICO and sex trafficking unless they have the evidence that they need to prove those things. So, I mean, good on Diddy's lawyer for being able to beat his second RICO case in a matter of like 8 months, but it's just another menace to society that's still out walking the streets while we're deporting innocent Mexicans and Guatemalans and foreign people that are coming here just to create a better life. We've got people like Sean Combs that are going to be set free to roam the United States and continue to take advantage of it. And now that because he's a millionaire, continue to reap the benefits of these tax breaks and residuals and all those other types of things that he's going to be getting. Because now his name is going to be more popular than it has been in decades. Once he eventually does get out. So
yeah, I mean, it's a really weird situation because I think when they said the verdict was read, that he and certainly his family like celebrated, which I guess I understand, because if you thought like there was a possibility that you would go to jail for life and you beat that charge, still, the charges that he was found guilty on, it carries a maximum sentence of 20 years, so he could still go to jail for a really long time. But very rarely do judges give the maximum sentence,
especially first time
especially
offender.
for a first time offender. Although he has had cases where he's done some crazy shit. Allegedly done some crazy shit, but got off on that too. Where when he shot that woman in the face in the club and made Shine take the fall for it. But anyway, I think it's really so after the verdict was read and after he was found not guilty on the more serious charges. I don't know if you saw this video, but people were spraying baby oil
I did see
on
that.
themselves outside the courtroom.
I did
Which
see that.
honestly, I
I'm embarrassed for our
feel
people.
like I don't want to say it set the black community back because I feel like any sane black person would have been like, I'm not with them niggas. Definitely not with them niggas.
But that's the thing is that when you're out in public with your parents or with your mom and you start to act a fool in Walmart because she won't buy you snacks, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter that she's a great parent or she's a great mom or that they're great parents or whatever the case may be. What matters is in this moment, everyone that sees you thinks that she can't control her kid or they can't control their kid. So in that similar situation, unfortunately, the loud minority among the people that are going to try and set the black community back, they're going to do just that because this feeds into the narrative that they want to feed into of the ignorant. But it's like it honestly was like watching an Aaron Magruder Boondock skit.
It very much. It
You
was
know what I
very
mean?
much a
Like,
Boondock skit. Like it was definitely
it was fucking crazy.
Which I listen.
Um,
I think people, and I get it, right? Like we don't have to get into the whole thing about black people and the government and whatever. Like you don't have to. I hate when people keep having to feel like they need to explain that because it's like, yeah, sorry.
look, some of these motherfuckers is guilty, bro. So you
Like
know
no.
what? And I
This
get
nigga was found guilty on 2 counts. He was found guilty on.
boom. But again, I just want to make it more broad so it's not just about Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Because yes, specifically this nigga and fuck that nigga specifically, but sometimes these motherfuckers is guilty. And a guilty person should have to do their time. That's all that I want as a black man. I don't need our guilty people to get off because the guilty white people get off. What I need is every person that's guilty to be charged for the crime that they're guilty of. And then within the parameters of our judicial system, some people that might be repeat offenders or the more obtuse offenders, maybe they get more time, maybe they get a death penalty depending on where they're being tried or what they're being tried for. And first time offenders, maybe they get a slightly reduced sentence or time served or whatever the case may be. But I don't need Diddy to get off. I didn't need OJ Simpson to get off. Now I wasn't really I was alive for it, but I wasn't really like cognizant of that whole situation. But like I don't need people like that to get off. If you're guilty, do the time. Like I'm okay with you being convicted of that crime. What I'm not okay with is somebody like Trayvon Martin's murderer getting off. Sandra Bland's murderer getting off. George Floyd's murderer getting off on technicalities or this or that or whatever. That's what I don't want to happen. I don't need, well, these people got off scot-free, so Diddy should get... No. All them niggas can go to jail together. Matter of fact, share a cell. You know what I'm saying? Because the first thing Diddy did, according to the courtroom fucking artist, is get on his fucking knees, which is quite appropriate for Diddy in this situation. So, I guess shout out to everybody that wants to celebrate an asshat like fucking Diddy getting off on those charges and potentially not spending as much time in prison as I would have liked to see him spend, just for his crimes and the things that he did. But that's just the way that the American law system works, and it's unfortunate because you very rarely get to see justice get carried out, and in this case, it still wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, and think about the fact that the 2 people who testified against him, who were harmed the most in this case, one of them being Cassie, the other one, Jane Doe. Like, what are they supposed to think? They're like, Okay, so you're basically telling me you agree that he had us engaged in prostitution, but you don't agree that it was serious enough to be considered sex trafficking. The RICO thing, whatever. I don't even really understand the RICO cases anymore. They keep trying to bring them in cases where it just doesn't make sense. But you mean to tell me that it was prostitution but not sex trafficking? So like, how are they supposed to feel? They're supposed to feel half good? Like
Literally,
I
it
don't
looks
understand.
like the charge that he was found guilty of. It looks like if someone asked you to explain what sex trafficking is for like the PBS version, that's what that looks like. So it's like, no, it wasn't sex trafficking, but he was found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution. What the fuck do prostitutes do when you transport them? They have sex with people.
Yeah.
Trafficking is the transportation illegally of people. So you're literally talking about illegally transporting sex workers. That sounds a whole hell of a lot like sex trafficking to me. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but it's fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. A lot.
I honestly,
I'm with you. A lot of it doesn't make sense, but even still, like I said, I just think it's weird to be celebrating. Like, I don't feel like black people won because Diddy isn't going to go to jail for life. Like, this changes my life in zero ways whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't do this for the community. That's the thing that really trips me out. Like you were saying, like he didn't take this case on for the community, so he's not fucking Jesus. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really strange to me that people are, you know, just legitimately celebrating. Or there's the people who are just like, well, he got it was not guilty. I don't really know, blah blah blah, but that's how it works. And it's like, nigga, stop being so mealy mouthed about it. This nigga's not like this nigga's sick. Like, there's something
right.
wrong with
But
him.
we don't have to go through the legal jargon of it. You don't have to like fumble over yourself to be Johnny Cochran about the whole fucking situation. All right, you're not his representation. This isn't a thing. I shared a post on Facebook earlier that was like, if you're one of those people celebrating Diddy's chart verdict or whatever today, go ahead and unfriend me so I don't have to block you. And I got some interesting traffic on it, and it was just one of those situations where I'm like, listen, man, I'm not litigating the actual case. I'm not a lawyer, and I don't ever want to be. I understand the logistics of why certain charges were dropped, and I don't believe he should have been brought up on the RICO charges. I don't even understand, like you said, I don't even fully understand it. That was something they brought in for like mob bosses and mafia bosses. I don't really understand why Diddy would get brought up on RICO. But to celebrate someone being proven not guilty or being deemed not guilty in a court of his peers that is as vile and sinister as Diddy is a very different thing. You don't have to celebrate it. You don't have to celebrate it. You can understand it. You can agree with the verdict. You could, be like, yeah, if I was on the jury, I probably would agree. I probably would have agreed. You don't know. I don't know. I don't know what evidence was put up against these people, what they were allowed to see or not see. But you don't have to sit there and celebrate it. And that's the point. And if you're going to convolute that with something else, then you're almost trying to create an excuse for other people to celebrate it. That's not at all what we're talking about here. And it's just sad to see so many people that look like us, that look like Cassie, that could villainize and victimize Orman like that. And then people who look like DJ fucking Vlad, who can come out here and Cassie just as good. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? Anyone who saw that video of what Diddy did to Cassie in that hotel room knows that that's just what they caught on fucking
Right,
camera.
exactly. One time. That
You
was
don't
the
know
one
what
time.
she went through that put her in that situation. So like it's so insane to me. Like a bunch of people who like have no proximity or no way of knowing any of these people pretend to know these people, what they're going through, or use their voice or their platform to say the most ignorant, ridiculous, stupid shit that I've ever heard. And it's like, of course it would be fucking punk ass DJ Vlad saying some dumb shit like that
Yeah, that
to back up his bum buddy Diddy. Like I don't even
definitely
understand it.
tracks for him. Definitely tracks.
Yeah, 100%. White guy that says nigger, by the way. So, in case niggas didn't know. Yeah, on to something that I feel a lot more happy about. Tell me about your Yankees, man. How you guys How your Yanks doing? It feels weird for me to go. I want to say this for Yankee. I want it does feel weird for me to go Jew from fourth place. Okay, I will admit
Yeah.
that.
Well, listen.
Okay, we beat you 5 out of 6 though, so fuck you
For sure.
guys. Feel free to win a game in the AL East.
Well, let me just start by saying I don't even really acknowledge you and your team until you guys, actually become relevant.
Until we beat you in the series, well, that's great because
Well,
we did
those
it
games
twice.
didn't
Boom.
count. Listen, I usually don't worry about my team this early in the season. It's getting kind of rough, man. It's getting kind of rough.
Max Fried is turning into a bit of a pumpkin.
He's having a rough stretch. The thing is, it's like, when your team's having a rough stretch on one side of things, offense isn't great, but the pitching is good, defense is solid. Or the pitching is great, but you just can't score. When both of those things are happening, which feels like was what's been happening recently, aside from some bright spots from Jazz and from Judge and Bellinger here and there, like it's just not. It's very uninspiring right now, and it feels like they're slipping into this weird like malaise that just is just sort of overtaken them. I don't really understand what the fuck happened.
You know where they're slipping to, Malik? They're slipping into second place.
Oh, they're already there
via the Toronto Blue Jays. I know that. That's why I said it. Shout out to y'all. Because even after that dingbat of a reliever decided to throw a pitch to Aaron Judge with the tying run on with Judge being the tying run at the plate, like you're getting the Barry Bonds treatment on walking you. But no, not this guy. This guy decides to throw a hanging slider. Judge ties the game. But thankfully, the baseball gods would not see you happy in Toronto, not on Canada Day weekend, and you lost that game. So thank God for that. Thank God for George Springer. George Springer for MVP. But
that's nasty.
It has been. I will say,
to just be like slobbing the knob of other teams in your division.
Listen,
it's disgusting.
Listen, man,
it's disgusting. But go ahead.
I've said on multiple podcasts, okay, that I'm a hater. I've said it. I've admitted it, and I'm not ashamed.
It's true.
I'm not. I know people want me to be, but I'm not. I'm not above it. And I'm going to lean. I don't care. I'm going to lean right in. Great. I'm a nasty motherfucker, Ray. Okay. And it makes it better that we actually did beat you 5 out of 6. And I feel like the Red Sox are a better team than they're showing. They just play like dumbasses. So, fuck them. But I will say, Red Sox colored glasses aside, it has been weird to witness, even just looking in these box scores and seeing your team perform the way that they're performing, because none of it makes sense. You get like a good start from Marcus Stroman, which is weird. And then Max Fried throws a no-hitter into the 5th inning and then explodes. And all of a sudden you're losing a game like 7-0. You're like, what the fuck just happened? I was just looking at tracking a no-hitter from Max Fried, and then all of a sudden I look back 30 minutes later and you're down by like 6 runs. It's so strange to see. And in the midst of one of the great seasons that we've ever seen from a slugger period, let alone a right-handed slugger like Aaron Judge. This is like his Mike Trout MVP type season, where he's just crushing it. He's very clearly the MVP, but like the team is just kind of I mean, you're better than those Angels teams everywhere. Yeah, obviously, you're going to win 75. Yeah, but like, for a team that's not, you should be running with a bat like Judges and a pitcher like Max Fried and Rodon, honestly, you should be running away with a shitty AL East, at least, let alone AL. And the fact that you're letting the Tigers punk you is kind of sad to me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stand for it if I was you, personally.
Fuck you. Imagine how I felt seeing Gleyber Torres become an all-star his first year with the Tigers. Not great.
What position is he playing?
Let me tell you. But hey, you know what? A lot of this I put on Boone because, like, what are we doing? Like, why is Jazz not playing second base? I understand.
You got LeMahieu,
I can
man.
pretend to understand that, like, whatever. Let's cut the shit and put Jazz at second base. Like, the interior defense.
Okay, but then who plays third? You putting LeMahieu at third?
Yeah, fine, whatever. But at this point,
he's playing second. You still have the same two players in the lineup.
but
Maybe Jazz is a better third baseman.
Yeah, but he's also a better second baseman, and I feel like you just gotta.
You can't play both spots.
I know. I wish he could be fucking clone the guy. Listen, man, like DJ LeMahieu, we didn't even know if he was going to come back. He's been so injured for the last however many years. Like the fact that he's playing is great, and he's a much better bat than.
Those Colorado Rockies middle infielders, not really that great. Trevor Story's having a good June and July, but we have our own malaise with a former Colorado Rocky middle infielder. So I'm not crying any alligator tears for you guys and DJ LeMahieu.
Listen, it is what it is. When Cabrera went down, he fucked his ankle up. Like I was like, damn, because he's actually a legitimately good third baseman, and like I felt like our team,
but he can't hit.
It's enough. He's good enough. Like and it was fine, right? You can make it through it. You have the trade deadline to maybe see if you can make some things happen. Once he went down, it kind of took the wind out of the sails. And then you got to move Jazz over there, but Jazz was hurt, and like it's just been a lot of moving around. Like I think Boone's job is on the line here to sort of make something happen because it's been 30 games of like this terrible play. Like you guys are under 500.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you how much leash do you give Boone? Do you give him to the All-Star break and then try and make your change then? Do you just finish the season out?
You can't do that in the middle of the season, but I think if I'm the front office, I'm coming to him and I'm like, what are we doing about this? You know what I mean? Like what you got as a front office and as a manager, I think you have to realize like the players you have currently in these positions where you're constantly fucking up. And Volpe, obviously he leads. Does he lead the AL in errors or does he lead all shortstops in errors? I can't even remember. It's a ton.
He doesn't lead the AL, and I feel like that designation belongs to one of the many Red Sox who have been shitty on defense. We lead the major leagues in errors, and maybe it's just an even disbursement amongst our many shitty defenders, with the exception of Alex Bregman, who is also ironically having the worst defensive season he's had in years, but is still leagues ahead of anybody else.
Either way, I'm confident that Volpe can not suck. I'm not confident in LeMahieu's defense. I can't even remember the other guy, Oswald.
Escara? Oswald. What does Escara play? Is he a catcher?
Escara is a catcher.
Okay.
But you got to make a move, man. You got to do something. Just you can't slip as far as they've slipped. Like we had such a lead to fall back this far. I'm concerned. Like I said, I usually don't say that I'm concerned this early, but I am concerned. Go ahead.
You should be concerned.
Up, you can make your jokes.
I mean, it feels great to me, honestly. I hope you continue on this route. Was it 12 and 18 in your last 30 games? This is great for me. Just continue to be mediocre and give the Red Sox an opportunity to like figure out what the fuck they're doing. Yeah, I mean, we got a clear log jam in the outfield. We got to figure out what we're going to do with the DH position. Who's going to play first base on a regular basis. There's a lot of things that they got to figure out. But I'm right there with you. The dog days of summer have really hit my team. It's like a time when I should have been celebrating sweeping the Yankees at home. Beating at the time, Fried was probably the second best pitcher performance-wise in the American League behind the freak that is Tariq Skubal. And, being able to beat him on getaway day on that Sunday before we traded Devers, I mean, we should have been riding on our all-time high. And then just since that Devers trade, it's just been a comedy of errors and poor front office choices and weird decision making and just lineups that don't make any kind of sense. Our number one prospect, the guy that's been basically we've been frothing at the mouth to see, he's hitting 200 and he had to go on a ridiculous hot hitting streak over the last 3 or 4 games just to get to that number. So it's been very difficult to root for my team as well. So I mean, I get it. Maybe it's just something that the teams are going through right now and they'll get through it. Right now you guys are tied 1 apiece in the third inning against the Blue Jays, so hopefully you lose that game. But fuck you and your guitar. How about that?
It's a violin. It's the
Okay,
smallest
you lose the
violin
game.
ever. Playing you a sad
Hey,
song.
man.
Fuck you. And your team.
Well, my team is better than your team. I think that if head-to-head matchups are any
Oh,
indicator,
okay.
it's become very clear that the Red Sox, when at their best, are a better team than the New York
Cool.
Yankees. It's not even
Where do
close,
you put
honestly.
that banner? Is it go?
We don't hang banners for moral
Okay.
victories,
Oh,
honestly.
do you
Yeah,
hang
we
them
don't
for
do
actual
that.
victories?
We're just yeah, we
Oh,
do. We do. That's why we have 4 in, the last 21 years. How many do you guys have?
27 all time. All
No,
time.
no, 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 no. I'm not
27
talking
all
about.
time.
I'm not. I'm
27 all
not.
time.
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
talking
It's
about.
bullshit.
I'm not talking about when Babe Ruth was playing against chain smoking
Oh, here we
construction
go. Here
workers
we
and shit like that. I'm talking about real World Series championships when you had to go against other black people and Dominicans and
Oh,
shit.
okay.
You know what I mean?
I love
The
that you
real
said
the
other
real
black
World
peoples and
Series wins.
Dominicans and shit. Ah,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. Listen, man. Congratulations on however many championships you guys won. I don't really pay attention. You're
I
irrelevant.
don't pay attention to the past
Relevant.
that much. I just pay attention to the things that I've seen with my own two eyes, and what I've seen with my own two eyes is 4 World Series championships, and those banners are hanging very proudly in Fenway Park.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, I appreciate your congratulations. George Springer's about to hit a 2-run home run, by the way, so I hope that ruins your day.
Yeah, no, it won't. And it's disgusting that you are rooting for players on other teams in your division. But hey, to each his own.
Only when they play against you, a-hole. Oh man. So let's go to the last category of the day, our favorite category of every podcast, man. It's dad rules. We're gonna let you start because again, very important. Some might say one of the most important milestones passed
Yes.
during our very brief hiatus here. Happy first birthday, Coleman Smith, man. Shout out to you, youngin.
Yes, indeed.
How was the birthday festivities? And then give us your dad rule.
It was great, man. I spent so much time trying to get ready. My grandmother let us do it in our backyard, which was great. Which is really funny because that was, I guess, the first time that I sat Coleman down on some grass, and he was like, "What
Didn't
is
like it.
this?" He was like, "What is this?" He was very confused. I was like, "Wow, you're really a city boy, huh?" Um, so yeah, man, it was great. Like I said, a ton of planning, a ton of running around. There was just a lot of like strange like callbacks and memories, kind of being back in your neighborhood and going to these places and getting food. And, seeing people who know your family and like, oh yeah, you so and so's grandson, and that, and like to do that and then have the sort of surreal experience of seeing my son play in my grandmother's backyard like I had done for so many years on his birthday. It was beautiful, man. It was really, really a beautiful thing. Being around family is always a great thing for me. Get a chance to recharge. Um, yeah, man, I was happy. I was happy as hell. I was tired. Like after after
There it
yeah
is. Yep.
after doing a bunch of stuff and Malik, can you do this? Malik, can you do that? Oh, pass me. Who want water? Who want beer? Who want? Okay, yeah. And then cleaning up and then doing all that, man. I was cooked. I was cooked. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like you're hosting a party that you're also not a guest of honor for. So it's like I'm the guy that you come to for everything. I'm the gopher, but like it's like being a PA on a movie set. You know what I mean? Like you're just constantly making sure everybody's having a good time, everybody's okay. You got to check on the kid, make sure the kid's doing
It's
okay.
also like this is not my house, so please stop asking me where to put stuff. It's like I don't live here. I mean, it is my family's home, but I don't currently live here, so like please stop asking me questions. But don't bother my grandmother either. Just put it somewhere and I'll figure it out later. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Just I mean, figure it out, guys. Be a little bit self reliant here. So what's your dad rule?
Dad rule is it's less of a rule and more of just something funny that I think we both realize is that sometimes I just look at pictures of my son. It like pictures. He's 1 years old, so I have a ton of pictures. But obviously, I was there. It was last year from a lot of these pictures, especially me reminiscing about him being born. So I'm looking at pictures of things that I still vividly remember when they happened. But sometimes I'll just go through my camera roll and I'm just like, oh, look at him. Look at him, so great. And it's funny because then, like, when he's actually there, I'm like, "Yo, my man, are you tired? Like, you sleepy yet? Like, you wearing me out, dog." But then once he's sleeping, I'm looking at the picture. I'm like, "Look at him, he's so cute. Look at that face." So yeah, I don't know, not a rule, but you just stare. I just stare at my son constantly.
Kind of is a rule though. It's like being a dad means you have to become oddly sentimental about things that you didn't care about like 16 months ago. Like your son just turned a year, right? But like maybe 2.5 years ago, like you said, you and Shan don't take a lot of pictures. I'm not a picture guy. I think before Ari was born, and I've had my phone and my iCloud, my same iCloud since Connecticut. You know what I mean? So you're talking about since 2011 or at least 2012, I think, when I finally got the iPhone. Had the same iCloud. I don't really delete a whole lot of pictures or anything. I just update the iCloud with more storage if I need it. And I hadn't really had to do that in a long time. I might have had, I want to say 1,000 maybe photos total over that span. In my daughter's folder alone, I think I have like 2,000 photos and videos combined. And she turns 2 in a month. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's so crazy to see how everything changes when you become a parent and just how oddly sentimental that you become. So I think I'm just piggybacking off of your dad rule here. Like that's gonna also be mine. Is I'm even more sentimental because my daughter is in Rhode Island right now. I go and pick her up a week from Saturday, um, from my home in Rhode Island where I grew up, where it all started. And
Oh, I stand up.
we hey man, you
Nah,
get it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
done said it enough. But yeah, it's been so wild to see her in just like all of those different rooms that I had been in, and the memories that I have from those rooms, and the memories that she is creating now in those same rooms, going to the beaches that I went to, new parks that I had never seen that are now being built because I hadn't been home in a while, and her getting to meet family members that are up there and spend some time. And it's also weird like here because like you don't realize how much of your free time that your kid takes up until you no longer are obligated to give them that time for an extended stretch. I think like the first week that Arya was gone, me and Jasmine just had an odd preponderance of free time and had no idea how to fill it. It was like, what do I do? Do I sleep? Is this what do I do with my
Yeah,
hands? I don't
I'm
I
just
don't know what I'm
raising.
doing.
Yeah. Nah, I feel you. Listen, I get like a day of him being in daycare, and I'm like, whoa, I have so much time because before that I spent every single minute with him. So when I got like 4 hours, I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like I don't know what to do. We got a weekend away a couple weeks ago, and we both just ended up cleaning the house a ton. Like it's weird. It's like I actually don't know what to do. I'm not quite sure how to spend this time because it becomes such a huge part of your life. So I get it. I couldn't imagine like the shock for you. I think is going to be when you get back to regular life and she's there. You're like, damn, like probably should have used those. Should have used those days when she wasn't in here to do X, Y, Z. But yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
No, it's the wild part is going to be because like so the arrangement that we're going to have when we pick her up is or when I pick her up is so I'm flying out next Friday. I fly out to Rhode Island to pick her up. I leave like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Land in Rhode Island by midnight, and our flight back to Atlanta is that same day at 5 a.m. So I'm not even leaving the airport. I'm just gonna be walking through the TSA, going to the gate to grab my daughter and the older of the two nephews that went up with my mom is gonna come back with me. So I'm gonna take them, and then we're just gonna hop back on a plane. So I'm literally gonna spend like 12 to 15 hours just between the Atlanta and BWI and Rhode Island
That
airports
sounds awful.
over Friday. So yeah, I mean it's probably worse than it sounds, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. So but it's gonna be so odd because like all I'm gonna be able to think about on the way there is getting to see my little bean. And then when I get there, she's probably gonna be cranky because it's gonna be like 2 in the morning and she's gonna have to get woken out of her sleep and she's probably gonna not want anything to do with me. She's just gonna want to lay down and go to bed. But yeah, sometimes I just sit there and I cycle through like every night. every day, really. Like, I have one of those, the widgets on your phone that you can create, and I created a widget for my daughter's, the little photo album I have of all of my daughter's photo. I just put a widget on one of the screens, one of the home screens of my phone of that, so that every time I'm flipping through my phone, it just pops up with a new photo on there. And it just picks it at random, and whatever that photo is of that moment, I might like send it to Jasmine. Like, you remember this moment? You remember this day when we took this photo and stuff? It's just like, you become like, this is how dads become cornballs. This is like the beginning of that process.
No, it's true. It's true. I'm definitely well into the process. Yeah, I'm fully ingrained in the cornball dad life, and I'm happy with it, man. To be honest, it's a beautiful thing. I have been told that, like, you got to put him down sometimes. You hold him too much. I'm like, but look at it. He likes it here. He's cool. He's cool with
You
it.
do.
He's cool with it.
You do. They're right. They're right about that.
It's
They are
tough.
right about
It's
that.
hard. Sometimes I just find him
I
in my head. I'm
know.
like, oh, how did you get up here?
Mhm.
Like, what?
Right. Well, like, it's crazy because sometimes I'll just forget, even though she's almost 2, that Arya can walk. So, like, if I'm like changing her on the changing table or whatever, and I pick her up, it's like I'll pick her up and bring her to the next room where we're going. Like in the mornings when we're getting her ready for school, and I'll just pick her up and walk her into our bathroom where we have her toothbrush and everything, instead of taking her down off the table and letting her walk back there. And it's like little moments like that. And I'm like, okay, Aaron, you have to just like let her walk, let her
And then
do
it's
her
like, I ain't got
thing
time
and
for
have her
this.
own little.
You
Yeah,
gotta go.
no. And she starts twirling in circles and dancing. Then she wants to, I taught her how to turn the light switch off, which was a mistake. And, she want to, now every light that she sees, she'll point at it and wants to turn it off herself and
It's like, actually, we need that
fiddle
one
with the
on.
door and everything. Yeah.
We need that.
Like literally, it's like, if we turn that off, it's going to be pitch black in here and you're going to scream.
Yeah.
So let's probably not, let's not turn that on.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm about to, once we get over here, I'm going to look at some pictures because he's going to be asleep.
Yeah, I'm probably about to do the same. Jasmine's coming home with some Popeyes. She's been out getting her hair done. We're getting ready to go to Mexico this weekend, so she was out getting her hair done, and yeah, she's coming home with some Popeyes. So I'm gonna eat and look at some pictures of my baby, and then she's going out with her sister, and then I'm either gonna go see Karate Kid or I might just like chill inside. I don't know what I'm gonna. The Red Sox don't play today, so it might be a good opportunity to get out and go see a movie.
F1?
I saw F1 already. I wasn't waiting. I had to see it. Yeah, I had to see it. Did you see it?
I did not. I've heard good things though. It's on my list. It's on my list.
And that'll be the next thing that we talk about when you see it. Yeah,
on the next episode,
for sure. No spoilers.
Podcast.
Yes, but yeah, again, man, thank you everybody that rocks with us, man. Again, shout out to King Coleman on his first birthday, man.
Sir.
Awesome moment, milestone moment, first of many. And we're just so grateful to everybody that's been a part of our fatherhood journey, been part of our journey on the podcast as men, as people, and all that stuff. We appreciate all the love and the support and everything that we get in every way that we get it. It's been another fantastic episode of the No Rules Podcast.
Peace, y'all.
Peace. Wunderbar.